idea. One of the joys of going live. All right, everybody. So before we start, just want to make sure that in case somebody's watching this who doesn't know how we do this, what we will do is we'll spend a little bit of time up front just updating everybody on the news, views, and updates of our viewers, because we're an extended family. We like to support one another and keep up to date with it, what everybody's up to. And then we will get into the main part of the topic. And today's topic is about asking. Because, hi Jamie, because a lot of people don't know how to ask for things. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. So at the bottom below here, you will be able to see, hi Jody, you'll be able to see that we have 2 times. One will say 00 to something, news, views, and updates. And then that whatever that second time is through to the end, that will be the topic. So if you just want the topic and not the update, just go to that place to start with. All right, so that makes it pretty easy. Now then, let me just get the screen up that I need. And as you all know, I can't get that screen up until I go live, which is always frustrating, but never mind. So just be patient with me a second, and I will open up that screen. There we go. There's one of them. Nearly there. And the second screen we need is that one. There we go. All right, so let me hope that I close the right screen here. It's always my big fear, you know, I'll close the one screen that I really need. All right, so in terms of bear with me. Right, let me go here. In terms, we're going to start with just some thoughts and prayers. And please help me if I have forgotten anybody. I haven't heard an update, I don't think, this week from Erin. But let's hope that oh, wait a minute. We know that she did well enough that they are lowering her medication. So that was awesome. And that's all taking her to a path to being able to have an operation that she needs, and then hopefully be able to go and live a normal life for her again. She's been in hospital or under care since January. And you can't imagine what that must be like. Lauren seems to be fine. She's busy studying, actually. And that is really awesome. She came out of hospital and decided to start volunteering again almost immediately. Hey, Jody. And then now she's studying for qualifications for the volunteer stuff that she does. So that is really good. But the interesting thing was that it's in modules. And so what I asked her, because this is all about asking today, what I asked her was, how can we best support you? Have any of you ever done a course like that where you get it in modules? Because my experience of doing that is normally the first couple of modules, you're all gangbusters and you seem to be able to make time for it. But then after that, life gets in the way. And I don't know if any of you have found that. So what I wanted to know up front is what sort of support did she need on that? And so we're going to keep Lauren in mind about how she's doing that. And I'll put her on the list when we get to what we're up to. I didn't hear any updates from Becca, just so that you know. And who else did I hear from? No, I can't think of anybody that's under thoughts and prayers, but if anybody can remember anything that I've missed, just let me know. For those of you who are new to the broadcast, by the way, if you want to be kept up to date, just in case you don't know, there should be a bell in the top right-hand corner as you look at the screen. And if there is, click on that. And then whenever I'm about to go live, they will warn you, or whenever I go live, they will warn you. And the other thing is make sure you follow me on Facebook at DearMamaSal, because that's where I use Facebook as our sort of diary almost. You know, if anything's going on that I think the viewers will be interested in, I'll put it in there. And also, if you can, follow on Twitter, because I also put notes up on there. All right. Now, anniversaries and birthdays. Let's check on those. We've got one this week. What am I forgetting here? I know there's one. Hi, Beth. Hang on a second. Oh, I know what the one is. We're about to have a birthday in Germany. How many of you know Andrea from Germany? You might have heard of her in the broadcast, or occasionally she will leave a comment. But she is about to have a C-section. So just hold on, let me get the other birthdays. And tomorrow is Anna Marie's anniversary. So happy anniversary to her. And I believe the C-section happens on the 31st. That's what my memory is. But you know my memory. And some of you who are a little bit older, you will understand why I'm laughing. All right. So the next thing is, how did I keep my commitments? I've done really well. By the way, I found out something new this week that I really have to share with you. For those of you who are trying to get things done, but don't have a lot of energy. And it's difficult to describe how this is even possible, but it is. And I proved it to myself this week. Because it's really, really hot. It's well over 80 degrees in my house, and I don't have air conditioning. So you can understand. Hi, Pat. Big hugs to you. You're camping? Oh, awesome. I'm so happy for you. Anyway, so here's what I found out. Because, it was really hot, and I really didn't have a great health week this week. And what the funny thing was, that I said, okay, what I'm going to do is at the start of every hour, I am going to go full pelt at whatever the next task is. And I will do 10 minutes or until I get bored. Do you understand? So I can't quit in less than 10 minutes. But after 10 minutes, I give myself permission to stop. Now, on some things that I did 10 minutes and I was glad to stop because it was hard work. And other things I did probably well over half an hour before I said, okay, that's enough. But as Jody will tell you, what was amazing was how much I got accomplished. And I wanted to let you guys know that. So all you need is the discipline. And if you can think of it that way, the discipline at the beginning of each hour to just spend 10 minutes on whatever it is that you don't want to do. And I got probably 4 boxes down to filled and down to the garage. That's the important thing. And well on my way. So I just wanted to let you know that it is possible. Anybody else? Let me try and think here. Jody did really well this week. Congratulations. Round of applause for Jody. She actually got out her sketch pad and took the time to be creative. So well done, Jody. And we'll wait for Linda and Triona, Chip to come in. And Jody, if you can remind me that I need to catch up with them because they're on my list. All right. So Linda, Triona, and Chip. No, Jody, I'm really proud of you because, but how, may I tell the story of what happened after you finished it? Because, this is all about real life and what people do in real life. So how many of you can relate to this one? Jody did this cute picture, a cartoon type sketch of a deer. And she said, well, I've done it, but I'm not really happy with it, so I'm going to erase it. How many of you relate to that one? I don't really like it, so I'll destroy it. Well, Jody, hang on a second. What if I'd said the same about this one? Would you be upset? Hang on a second. Or if I'd said it about this one? Hang on. Let me see what else I've got here. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, what about this one, Jody? Because if you remember, I never remember which way I like this one. But if you remember when I did this one, I had a major problem with it. So here's the thing, Jody. It's art, right? The journey is the reward. And I want to tell you something. I probably won't even be able to put these up in my new home. Go figure that one. But do you understand what I'm saying? What I said to Jody about her sketch was, please do not erase it. Keep it there. I would date it as well, Jody. This day, so that you know that on this day, I took the time to be creative. That is your evidence. If you went into a court of law and they said, Jody, can you prove that you were creative this week? You go, yep. Now, Jody, just so we're clear, why do you need to be creative? I just want to make sure that we're solid on the ground on this one. Yeah, you date them all. Yeah, there you go. But do you know why you're being creative? And while you're answering that, Jody, here's the next question. If you know why you're being creative and you finish the sketch or whatever and erase it, are you also erasing the benefits of what you just did? That's what I want you to think about. So I could end up with boxes of art that will never sell or whatever. But there's part of me that goes, I'm getting quite a collection here. You're getting quite a collection here of artwork that I didn't think I would ever do. So just think about that, all right? Be aware of why you're doing it. Don't destroy the good work. All right, so as Jody's saying, it's freeing for me. It's a great way to express myself and spend time. And if you then erase it, do you understand that the karma is that this wasn't important? And if you remember, the reason you're doing it is not so that you will be happy with the result. The reason you're doing it is to express yourself and spend time doing that because it frees you up. All right? All right. So, Beth, I know that you've been Beth, you've been on my mind a lot this week. I know you've been really, really busy doing stuff. And so Beth is saying that she actually writes in her journal when she's She writes in her journal when she's angry, and then she destroys the writing. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. because what you've done is get it out of your mind and onto paper. And it's not really something you want to hold on to. You don't want anybody reading it, you know. So I can understand that. The other thing is, you know, I guess to be able to write it and not destroy it. Oh, Beth, I'm so sorry to hear that. So, Jody, if we can just make a note of that. Um, she fell and fractured her wrist. Boy, for somebody who is Miss Go, 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 is it your right wrist that you've hurt? Is it your predominant hand? In other words, if you're right-handed, was it your right wrist? Oh gosh, her doggy tried to jump out of her arms, and she tried to catch him and fell on her left wrist. But the dog is okay. She, yeah, that's really cute. So, but are you left-handed? I don't know if you're a lefty or not, Beth. That's what I'm asking. Is it your predominant hand? I'm a great believer that when we break something, I don't know if this makes any sense to any of you. I believe that when we break something, it's the universe telling us that we need to slow down. And, you know, and if you don't slow down now, it's going to hurt. So I like to look at, you know, things that get in my way in that way. Make sense, Beth? And Beth, what I'm pretty sure you've got it bandaged up or maybe even in a cast. The other thing is I always find that the universe makes sure that, you know, you've got some reason to get some attention. Just a brace. Okay. Just a brace. But the interesting thing is, are people asking you, gosh, why are you wearing the brace? And so you get to tell them, and you get hopefully some positive energy back from people. So I just believe there's always a reason. Were you pushing yourself a bit too hard this week, Beth, do you think? All right, so if I've forgotten anybody, please let me know. And if those people come in, Jody, just give me a heads up. And so we're going to do a time check at 18 minutes. Yes, Beth, I know you push yourself all the time. That's why I'm just mentioning it. And our topic today is how to ask. I've got 2 case studies for you. 2 things that I heard about or has happened to me this week. Excuse me. And I wanted to talk about them so that you could think about how would you handle this. Now, the first one came up from a viewer, and it was a very important one. And if you happen to be in a relationship, 1835, actually 18 minutes, put it in at 18. That's the time check Jody's asking me about. All right. So if any of you are in a relationship or ever have been in a relationship, let's start with this one. Oh, you made an agreement with your other half. I'll just say other half because it doesn't really matter whether it's a husband or boyfriend or whatever the category is, or girlfriend or wife or significant other. Whether it doesn't really matter. But you sat down and made an agreement on something. And you went ahead to do your side of that agreement. You know, it's a common goal that you're heading towards, and you went ahead and really worked hard at getting your side of the agreement done. And your better half has done little to nothing about their side of it. So the question is, how do you feel? You know, if that happens to you, how do you feel? And it's important to start with the feelings, in my view. Interesting. Beth saying that in her case, she would feel used. All right. And do you want to explain why you would feel used? It's important. Jody would be frustrated because she would be stuck. She's done as much as she can. Now she needs somebody else to come to the party to do the other part. And she quite stuck because you can't do it physically necessarily. All right. So that's an important feeling. All right. Anything else? Think about the emotions that you have when that happens. I would say I would almost feel betrayed. Hang on a second. Didn't we have an agreement here? And didn't we, don't we keep our commitments to one another? Okay, so now here's the next part of the story. What if the significant other then turned around and said, well, I need you to do more of it. I'm too busy. And my question to you is, how would you feel? Jody goes, ah! Yeah, Beth's going, she feels used because she's all used up after doing everything and left no time for herself. Yeah, you do that a lot, Beth. You pick up other people's stuff a lot. It's amazing. But the good news is you got the mirror now. You can understand it. So how many of you at this point would start to nag? Excuse me, you said you were going to get this done by Wednesday. Oh, you said you were going to get this done. Interesting. Beth says she would feel she was losing her identity. If the commitment wasn't met on the other side, she would feel she was losing her identity. That's, I can relate to that, Beth. I know it's a strange thing to say, right? But I can relate to it. All right, now this is typical of Beth. Listen to this one. And I wonder if you can be honest enough to put a hands up if you fall into this trap. Beth saying, I used to nag, but it's easier and faster just to do it myself. Yes, that is true. But you do understand that you are rewarding bad behavior. Beth, you do understand that. And if I lived with you, it wouldn't take me very long to find out whatever I agreed to. If I just don't do it, Beth will do it. She'll get frustrated and she'll just do it. Yeah, Jody's saying she doesn't so much nag as remind several times. So take a deep breath, because it's normally easier to help somebody else than it is to help yourself, if you like. So what advice would you give somebody who wrote to you about this? Because it's an important one. And the one thing about it that not many of us really understand is it's about control. Now, I had somebody who one time when I was moving said, don't worry about getting a moving company or anything. I'm going to come with a couple of my friends and I'll do it all for you. And I believed him. And the day of the move came, and he didn't have any friends with him. And it was like, oh, that's going to be hard work for you. And I didn't sort of say, okay, well, don't worry about it, and I'll, give myself injury trying to lift things. I just literally went, wow, that's going to be hard work. Anyway, I'm going to do what I need to do, which is to get the other end and be ready to take things from you when you get there. All right, Beth saying, I have learned by enabling somebody to take advantage of me would only cause the issue to increase at last. Well done, Beth. Because they always ask for more and more until I have nothing. Yes, Jody. Now, Jody, I'm pretty sure you totally understand my point of view, which is, excuse me, you gave me a commitment. The commitment was you are going to come with 2 of your friends. Yeah, well, I said I'd try to do that. And I said, no, that's not what you told me. You didn't say I would try and do that. You said, don't worry, Sal. I'm going to come with 2 of my friends and do this. So I'm not worried. Because I don't mind whether you pick 2 people up off the street to help you or what you do. But you said that I didn't need to worry about this, so I'm not going to. And yeah, and Jody's saying, I would have made arrangements. I would have done. And so did he complain and mutter and grunt? Yes. But did he do it? Yes. Because I literally let go of my guilt around that. And I'm going, I'm not going to hurt myself in doing this. Right? That's not what I chose to do. If I thought I was going to do that, I would have paid for movers to come. But what was I told? Don't worry. All right. So let's take what you know. What is the best way to get somebody to keep a commitment? So 1 second. Need to charge my watch while I'm doing this. What's the best way to get somebody to keep a commitment? And by the way, how many of you get incensed when other people don't keep their commitments? How many of you get really upset when people don't keep their commitments? Yeah. And by the way, oops, sorry. I just need to get this. And how many of you related with Beth? When she starts to get upset about it, instead of getting upset, she just goes ahead and does it. But she's learning that she's actually training people not to keep their commitments, which is not a good idea. So what I believe happens here, and just let me know if it's true for you, because I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here, which is that we sit down and make an agreement, but we don't make a solid agreement. We don't ask for the right sort of commitment. So when I sit down with something that's really important, and I guess I learned this after managing people for many years, when I need a solid commitment, I don't mean a yeah maybe type commitment, but I mean a really solid commitment. What I will do is say, I just want to make sure that we agree on this. Did you just say that you will get this done by Friday noon? No excuses. Is that what you told me? Even if they didn't word it that way, you check that they gave you a commitment. And then I would stick that commitment up on my fridge. Both of them, Sal agreed to do this, Fred agreed to do that by Friday lunchtime. And then the next thing I would say, let's make it fun. What will be the consequence if we don't get it done? You see, life is about consequences. And what I would find is, maybe that person gets to do the dishes for a week, and even if that is loading and unloading the dishwasher. If you give up one of the tasks that you have, because by Friday, if it isn't done, you need to have another commitment, which goes, okay, if I do this for you, because I can, what are you going to do instead of my work? Because it's going to take some of my mind. Yes, Beth is saying, I get upset, but I don't say anything. I just keep going like the Energizer Bunny. Well, that's a good way not to have any conflict in your house. But can you see, Beth, that by doing that, you're training people not to do their fair share? And then You probably get frustrated when they don't. And my experience has been, Beth, that when you actually let people know that they made a commitment and they chose not to do it. So let's have a quick moment. What excuses do you hear all the time? All right, so Beth is saying she just wishes that her daughter would think of the stuff she needs to do before she waits until the last moment, because it affects Beth, because Beth ends up picking up the pieces. I'm going to talk about that. Yes, Jody, who was also pretty much a control freak in her life, I believe. And I say that with lots of love because I totally relate to that. Jody says she now cannot do it physically. So she has to rely on somebody else. So that is a good one. Yes, I knew what the example was, Beth. I've been watching your comments all week. So Beth's issue is that her daughter doesn't do the work that needs to be done to get her grandson ready for school. So Beth is busy making the appointments, making sure this is done, making sure that's done. You see, Beth, what is difficult in this one is you are not teaching your daughter how to survive without you. What is she going to do when you're not around? So I would suggest, Beth, you don't have to change, but give it some thought. When you're journaling, start writing about how could I do this better? So for example, if you know by first of all, that these things need to be done, I would have a sit down meeting with your daughter once a week and go, I know I normally do all these things for you, but I can't keep doing that. I'm running 2 jobs at the moment. So here is the reality. This is the list. Do some of the work. This is the list. And let's decide what you're going to do and what I'm going to do. And we will meet again next Tuesday at this time. And I expect you to have done your tasks. I don't want to have to treat you like a child, but you are behaving like one. You need to take responsibility for your child. But Beth, can you see that what you're doing is perpetuating the problem? You're keeping this problem alive. And I know you've got reasons why your daughter can't do it all. Yes, you have created it and you keep enabling it. So I think you can still do the smart stuff, which is know that, by this time of the year, you need to get into the store and do that. And say to your daughter, even if you do it this way, just while you're learning how to get this right, Beth, say, we need to go to the store and we need to pick up the school supplies. And I know what you're saying. It's quicker for me just to pick them up while I'm there. That is not training your daughter. If necessary, pick her up, put her in the car, take her to wherever you would buy I'll tell you in a second, Janice, but take her to wherever you would buy those things and put her in the store and say, this is the store. And by the way, before you do that, I'd sit down with her and go, okay, what does he need for school? Oh, I don't know. Well, then you'd get frustrated and go, well, I know he needs this, this, this. And don't allow the I don't know. You went to school. So tell me something. What did you need when you went to school? Does that make sense? So what you need to do is be a parent and not, I know, honey. But do you understand I'm not asking you to change in a hurry, Beth. I'm asking you every night when you go to bed, ask yourself, how did I enable my daughter today? You know, think about that. How did I enable my daughter today? And then whenever you journal, write those things down. Just make notes when you can. When it comes up when you're, in the washroom, whatever, when it comes up, you go, I enabled there. Make a note. And then when you journal, use your journal time to go, how could I do this better? And the yes, but monster is going to say to you, yes, but it's quicker to do it myself. And the answer, you need cognitive therapy here, Beth. Yes, it is quicker to do it yourself, but you are not being a parent and teaching your daughter how to survive without you. So even to the extent that you say, we need to go to the store and I'm happy to drive you, but you need to organize the time that suits you and suits us both. And so you think now, what time will suit you? Because I'm coming to pick you up at this time. I know you've got all the excuses why you do it, Beth. Do I care? I'm trying to help you. And I totally relate to why you do it. Jonas, we're talking about asking for things. But can you feel the difference, Beth? Now, is it any different for those of you who are in a relationship? Good, Beth. Yes, Beth saying that for a while she looked after her grandson for 5 years. And then she went, no, wait a minute. The grandson needs his mother. And she needs to be with her grandson. Yeah, it's interesting because I saw a friend of mine do that. Their grandson, she basically raised the grandson completely away from the mother. Yeah, of course he called you mama, a mummy. Yes, of course he called you mummy. Why else would he? If you spent 5 years bringing him up, he how confusing is that? It's like, hi, Amy, good to see you. So do you understand that you are not asking her to be an adult? So, Beth, I want you to start working. No perfection here. Start working on giving yourself points when you go, I know I normally do this for you, but I'm going to help teach you how to do this for yourself. So instead of rushing around today, I'm going to take 10 minutes. We're going to sit down and plan this out. And if you don't keep your commitment, I'm not going to be driving you to work. How's that one, Beth? For every commitment that you agree to and don't keep, that's one day I'm not driving you to work. In other words, there has to be a consequence that's important to her. And you will need to find your own way to work. Hi, Kerry. We're talking about asking for good behavior here. Wow. Beth saying, I told her on Monday that she's decided to have another baby, which she did, right? Indirectly or directly. And I'm not going to do what I did with the first child. And she needs to be as exhausted as the rest of the mummies and daddies in the world, right? You are not her personal slave. She is an adult. And you understand that wording it that way, that she decided to have another baby. That is awesome. You didn't decide to get pregnant. She did. Well, it was an accident. No. You didn't take the proper precautions, whatever, to not have a baby. So therefore you chose to. Now, I'm presuming that she's not Catholic, but I could be wrong on that one. Plus, from what I gather, the daughter's husband is not somebody who keeps commitments either. Right? And so part of your education to your daughter is to get her to learn how to be able to keep strong with her husband on certain commitments. All right. So how do you get things done without nagging is the question. How do you do that? How do you get things done? Now, I've got some fun experiences of that. I know that, for example, I had one mother come to me and say, "Oh, Sal, how do I get my son to take out the garbage? He always says he's going to, and then he never does. He's so busy sitting in his room playing Nintendo." And I said, you got to get strong about this. This is called, if you make a commitment, and you understand most people don't do it strongly enough. Okay, John, so you agree to take out the garbage by when? I need a commitment of time. I need to know when you intend to take out the garbage. What is your deadline? And if John says by 3:00, and then I would say, okay, I got it, 3:00. Now, if at 3:00 the garbage is not in the garbage bin, I am bringing it and putting it over your bed, the garbage. Are we clear? You can do it whenever you like, but at 3:00, if that garbage is still in my kitchen, I'm picking it up, taking it to your room, and I am putting it over your bed. By the way, I'll also be disconnecting the internet for you for a day for not keeping your commitments. This is a family. We need to keep our commitments to each other. I am not a slave. I work 2 jobs. Whatever the story is, I need you to pick up the slack. We don't ask a lot of you. This is what we ask in return for the privilege of having internet, because it is a privilege, and for the right to have free board, meals and somewhere to live. So think about this. This is your contribution to the house. How many of you understand what I'm saying? You see, when you make it a commitment and not a wishy-washy, "Oh, do you think you could take out the garbage?" Yeah, I will do it to people all the time. When I say to people, "Can you do that?" And they go, "Oh, yeah." I said, "No, I don't mean you'll try. I mean, can you do that by 10:00 tonight?" It is a demand. It's a commitment. So all I would say is, great. So at 10:00 at night, you will guarantee me that this job is done by 10:00 tonight. True? No excuses. You just agree to do it. Well, I don't know. And then let's do the excuses because it's important. Well, I don't know if I have time. No, I don't have time either. And I don't have time to treat you like a child. So I'm just asking a straight question. Do I have your commitment that you will do it by 10:00? Well, I'm just asking a straight question. Yeah, imagine yourself in a court of law. Yes or no answer. He would take it the wrong way. Yeah, that's his problem, right? He's got to grow up. Well, he hasn't got to. Sorry. No, you can carry on being the slave, Beth. Sorry. Be it not for me to tell you what you have to do. Yeah, listen to Beth's comment. You know something? You need to write this up on your mirror, Beth. She says, "He doesn't ask me to do anything. I just choose to do everything." How many of you are going, "Story of my life"? And the reason that he lets you do everything is because if he knows that if he leaves it, you'll do it. You treat him like a 3-year-old. All right. So Beth, it's not that you need to be nasty. Just the next time he says, all right, so Beth's saying here, she says, I just say, "Can you please do this for me?" And she's saying maybe she needs to rethink this. Maybe. Or, if the answer is I'll try, you go, no, 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 no. I'm not asking for a try. I'm saying, can you give me a commitment that you'll get it done by 10? And by the way, if what's the consequence if you don't get it done? Make it a game. This is like life is about consequences. Don't give a commitment if it's not a commitment. But that means they have not been trained to have integrity. Jody, you are somebody that's very strong on commitment. So, question. How do you not nag? Can you give an example of where things are not getting done and you don't nag? Now, I'm, as you know, I'm going to bring up this word, I'm pretty intense, right? Because that's what I was told. It's a big joke amongst my friends now. Yeah. You're intense. I go, how come nobody ever told me I was intense? And they go, because you're not. You're passionate about things. So I need you to get passionate about looking after yourself, Beth. Don't have to, but you may choose to. And what do I do? I get a great sense of humor. I go, yeah. I know that's your usual thing, just to say, yeah, you'll get it done. Here's my question. If you don't get it done by 10 o'clock, you get to make dinner tomorrow night. Yeah, I am direct. You're right, Beth. I am direct. Now, there's a reason why I'm starting with this story, because I want you to feel this. I had it wrong for so many years, Beth, and I don't do it anymore. So when people say to me, oh, okay, Sal, I'll try, I go, excuse me, it's me. I don't accept I try. I'm just asking, will you do it? And if they go, well, I'll no, I'm asking you, will you do it? And they go, okay. And I go, by when? What? I just want to know by when, because I don't, I want to get a time frame of when we can get this done, because I need to move on with something else, but I need to know this is sorted. So that's what I do. I still have friends, Beth. I catch them all the time. Maybe. No, I don't want a maybe. I want to know, can we get this done? Because I'm going off to do this bit. I just want to make sure that you got this bit covered. And if you don't keep your commitment, like a child, if you don't keep your commitment, this is costing you dinner out, or something. Find a consequence. By the way, remember to reward good behavior. That's a big one. Always reward good behavior. Oh, that's wonderful. You kept your commitment. I'm putting a bonus point on the scoreboard here for you. All right. So this is Jodi's answer. Lionel is her husband. I explain. If Lionel has agreed to do something and didn't, I remind him gently, so that I'm so grateful for the help. And his help allows me to be more productive and involved in the household. Yes. Make sure that your husband knows, this is called, you do understand that if you say you're going to do it, I'm going to plan my life around that. And so if you don't do it and expect me to do it, then you're not honoring our, this is like important for us as a team. All right. So Beth's being really honest. You're doing a great job, Beth. You really are. I'm so proud of you. Beth says, I have to admit that I do complain that I have to do everything in the house, Marta. I have to do everything in the house. But he sat down with me and said that he seriously doesn't know how to help me because I've already done everything. He said that I don't leave him to do anything. Yeah, if you don't do delegation, it's a management technique, right? The skill of a great manager is that they can delegate and follow up. All right, Jody's saying, if Lionel doesn't set up her cooking station, because she has physical issues that she needs certain things done. If he doesn't set up her cooking station, she can't make dinner. All right. So she reminds what's the result? If you don't do A, B, and C, I can't do X, Y, and Z. So do we agree that I don't have to do X, Y, and Z if you can't be bothered? No, if you don't do A, B, and C, I'd probably say can't be bothered, because that's the truth. But the reality is, it's very difficult to do this, because you've controlled everything for so long, Beth. Right? You've wanted to show everybody what a super. I'm surprised. Can I ask you a question, Beth? What color is your Superwoman cape? Because I really get a feeling that you have a Superwoman cape. I need you to take it off, honey. All right. So Beth being perfectly honest, and we love this about her. Beth says, that is the story of my life. In whatever I do, jobs, children, my husband, it's hard to change. Even when I was little, my mom was too depressed to do what she needed to do, so I cleaned. And I did everything for her and kept it a secret. All right, Beth, there is a book written by Scott Peck, I think. Children of the Lie. I think it's Scott Peck, and Jody will check that for me. Children of the Lie, L-I-E. The reality is the book is not easy to read for people who've grown up in addictive type households, because it talks about how we had to keep everything a secret, and we're not to tell anybody that you do everything, or and we get programmed how to enable them. And the worst thing is, Beth, that you think that is parenting. So you learned how to be a parent as a child. It's one of the saddest things in my view, is those of us who had to grow up so early just to accommodate a parent. So Beth, I'm sending you a big hug, and I'm telling you that it can stop, because you don't want to be passing this on to your children anymore. And you certainly don't want to be passing it on to your grandchildren. All right. So Beth's saying, I still have a deep feeling that if I keep everything and everyone in order, life is good. Yeah, life is good, and you will burn out and get some serious illness because you're stressing your body all the time. No, honey, I know you can't do it anymore. Breathe. Beth, remember, you don't have to you don't have to change it all. You don't have to change it all now. See this as what I am doing is I'm learning how to change my life for the better. All right, don't see it that you're being nasty or whatever. Understand you're learning how to do things and change your life for the better. By the way, excuse me. I have people who make their commitments to me and break them. How many of you have had this one happen? And what I do is I word that very carefully. For example, my friend, those of you who know my friend Marnie, she may phone and say, Sal, I'm coming over. Let's get together on Thursday. And she's a very busy person, very difficult to get time with her. So I'm always very grateful when I get a commitment of time. But then she will phone me, let's say, for instance, and say, Sal, I don't know how to tell you this, but my dog is sick. I need to take my dog to the vet. Thank you. I thought it was Scott Peck. Thanks, Jody. My mind obviously has some brain cells still running around. Beth, this is not an easy book to read, but you may want to see if you can find it online on a PDF somewhere, and just try and read a couple of pages a day or something, because this is an eye-opener. The other book I recommend is Codependent No More. That is a book that would really help you. Codependent No More. And Melody Beattie, I think. No, let me think. It's not Melody. Yeah, Jody's checking for me. All right. So Codependent No More was by, maybe it was Melody. Jody will let me know whether the two brain cells, got exhausted on the first memory lapse thing. So Beth, this is not just you. You understand this. You are not the only person doing this behavior. I need you to know, welcome to our world, right? Because most of us do this in some form or another. And so the main thing is understand. Now, the question that I have, Melody Beattie, 2 for 2. Wow. Brain cells are definitely functioning. That's good. Yeah. I would start with Codependent No More. It's a really easy book to read. And what I liked about it, Beth, is it gave me the wording. All right. It would give you a case study. It give you an example of where this codependency happens. And then it would give you the wording, how to actually word the correct response. Would that help you? I want to tell you, when I read that book, it changed my life. That is one of my books that anybody who's ever been in a dysfunctional situation, that book to me is a must-have. That and Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. So let me go on, and I want to now tell you about my story. I had a really interesting thing happen to me this week. Some of you know that I've been trying to work out where to move to. Yeah, that's a good thing, Beth. Beth's saying she's going to title her new journal Codependent No More, right? All right. And, you may be able to find the PDF, literally search for it on Google and write that title and then also put PDF at the end. See if there's a free PDF of the book, and then read it with your, book reader. Why would I do that work for you, Kerry? Okay, she's going to get Beth to do it. Delegation. I like that. All right. Because she knows I'm not going to be doing it. All right. No, Jody. Beth and Kerry have this covered. Your job is to look after me, not them. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. So some of you know that I've been busy trying to find I found Sunshine Cottage, but things went very wrong very quickly with that. And by the way, it still hasn't sold. And then I saw, how many of you know that I found a fifth wheel that I really like? And I'm going to call that Cedar Cottage. Cedar as in the trees, cedar tree. All right. I'm going to call that Cedar Cottage for now, because I haven't come up with a better name for it yet. And so here was the thing. When I went to go and talk to the owners of Cedar Cottage, they told me what they wanted for it. Right? And I said, okay, because is it okay for somebody to tell you what they want? This is a case study situation here. Is it okay for somebody to tell you what they want? Yes or no? Okay. So wait a minute. Let's get Beth, did you I just want to make sure I got this right, Beth. Did you say that you would send those to Kerry? And Kerry, my question is, as you have both the titles, did you write them down for yourself? Because Beth did. I thought you did, Beth. Yes. Okay. So Kerry, yes, she said she would. But Beth, can you see? You see? She's on a mission already. Kerry, you will not only have the titles, but you'll have the PDFs in just a few moments. Good delegation. You see how you do that? So Beth, so can you see how I went back to Beth to check the commitment? So now Kerry's saying, no, I didn't. I'm eating and I have nothing to write with. All right. Do you understand that, Kerry? So make sure that we know that, because otherwise it looks like something else. Yeah, and thanks, Beth. Now it's the same thing. Is when I say, Jody, can you make a note of that for me? That's the agreement that Jody and I have. I will concentrate on the broadcast and she will keep the follow-up notes for me, and that's our commitment. All right. And do you understand? That's how we work together. And it works like a dream. And then as we finish the broadcast, she will send me back the notes I need. And that's teamwork. So my question was, and I got distracted, what do you do if somebody doesn't keep the commitment? And here is something that I would have you all start practicing. And that is, seek first to understand. All right? How many times have you heard me say that? So I would word it in a way like, John, I hate to nag because that's not fun for anybody, but I just want to check. Did you say you were going to get it done by 10 o'clock tonight? Well, no. I don't want you to get upset. I'm just checking your commitment. But no. Shush. You gave me a commitment. I just want to check. Was it 10 o'clock? Keep strong on the commitment. And so if Marnie phones me and says, Sal, she always gives me the full story. Sal, I have to cancel because my dog got sick and I have to go to the vet. I have never known Marnie to tell me a lie. And I have never known Marnie cancel an appointment unless there was a really good reason. You see, I love her because she keeps her commitments. I got a feeling that some of you understand what I'm talking about. And by the way, if I wake up in the morning and I feel, how many of you know, how many times have I woken up not feeling like doing a broadcast? But in 6 years of doing this, how many broadcasts have I canceled? Maybe a couple a year. because I literally woke up without the energy to be able to do it. You know, I could have given an excuse to not do a broadcast today. Believe you me, I had four hours sleep 2 nights in a row. So I had lots of reason to say, "Hey guys, not going to do it today. I'm going to sleep." But I chose to only get 4 hours sleep. That was my doing. I didn't take anything to make sure that I slept. I didn't relax my body properly beforehand. What I did was my mind was racing on the next part that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so here I am. So Cedar Cottage. What did I say it was going to be called? Yeah, we'll call it Cedar Cottage. So the person who owns Cedar Cottage, when I said, "How much do you want for it?" He told me, if you remember, I think some of you remember, that he told me he wanted 111,000. Now, it's a beautiful 41-foot outside, 41-foot fifth wheel with all the bells and whistles, and the outside around it completely done. It's got a 26-foot by 6-foot addition on it, plus everything outside is all decking. It's not mud. It's all decking. You don't have to walk in mud in the winter. It is really pretty. Okay. So I went, okay, that's interesting. And I didn't say, "That's a heck of a lot of money and it's a ripoff." I said, "I hear what you want. Thank you." It makes sense. He has the right to ask for whatever he wants. And I said, "Let me go away and do some research on that, because that's my right." So I went off, and as some of you know, over the weeks, I've been doing research on what can I buy a secondhand RV for? And then how much would it cost me to have somebody come in and do the things that Jerry has done to his? And I reckoned that the fair price would be whatever the going rate was today of a trailer that old. It's not that old. And I'm going to say, and I'm prepared to go up to double its value for all the time, effort, and materials that he put in to do all the additions. Because I thought, you see, I'm looking for what's fair, not only to him, what's fair to me. So I went, that's interesting. So then I was a bit embarrassed because it was a lot less than he was asking. A lot less. So I didn't phone and tell him that. What I did, I don't know if any of you can relate to this one. What I did is, in my mind, I went, if I am meant to have this, then this will all work out. If I'm not meant to have it, then it won't. And I still find it interesting that Sunshine Cottage, is still on the market because that's obviously still a possibility for me. So anyway, here's the thing. Out of the blue this week, I get a text message from the owner of Cedar Cottage and goes, "Are you still interested, Sal? Let me know your thoughts." That's what he asked for. It's okay for him to ask that, right? Let me know your thoughts. And then I felt really conflicted because I'm going, how do I tell him that my thoughts are, you have grossly mispriced this unit? That's not a nice thing to say to somebody. True? But it was what my research told me. So I sat for a minute and I'm going, wait. How do I do this nicely? And I'm going, okay, you don't have to do this too nicely. You just need to tell him the truth. And I wrote back, I'm busy, doing the texting back. And I go, "Jerry, I don't know how to say this nicely." Because that's my truth. But I'm just going to tell you. And I put ... ellipses. And then I sent that. And then I The next bit said, I've done a lot of research on secondhand units, high-end like yours. Like, made sure he knew that I remembered it was a very high-end unit, high-end like yours. And the value of that is about this much. And then I reckoned for all the hours you put in and the materials you bought to make it look so pretty, I actually doubled it, which probably is very generous. I doubled that value to say, what do I think I would be prepared to pay for it? See, that's my truth. So I asked myself, what would I be prepared to pay for it? And I said, but I don't want to tell you because I don't want to insult you. So now I'm giving him the option to run, or is he really still interested in selling it to me? Can you see that? And he just texted back and he went, okay. It was worth a try. And, so what do you think, Sal? Now, how many of you know I'm beginning to like this guy a lot? He was honest. It was worth a try. And I said, Jerry, again, don't take this personally, but from what I can see, the going rate for that unit is probably somewhere between 75 and 80,000. And that's being generous. Yikes. And I literally typed the yikes in. So do you understand that he asked for my thinking and I told him? Okay, Beth, do you want me to hold on for a second before I finish the story? Because I'm happy to do that for you. You know, I can digress easily. All right, well, we'll wait a little while, and if she doesn't come back, then we'll just carry on. So can I ask you, while we're waiting for Beth to come back, what are you feeling about this conversation so far? Can you see that this is not two people fighting one another, for example? This is one person asking me, first of all, I didn't phone him up and go, I think you're a ripoff asking that much money for your trailer. I didn't do that. I didn't reward bad behavior. I was just, hey, if he wants to ask 110,000, he's welcome to it. And if he sells it, can you understand that if he sells it for 110,000, I'm actually happy for him? Because it's, good for him. But I had already said to him, the interesting thing is you don't want a lot of people. What you want is the right person who loves your unit and appreciates the work you put in. That's what I said to him when I first saw the unit. That's what you want. You don't want 1,001 people coming in here. You want the right one person who values what you've done. But I didn't say, but could be that one person, but you're insane. And when he texted back, do you want to hear something even more interesting about it? He said, this is what my neighbors said I should ask for it. So you see, it wasn't what he thought. It was what his neighbors thought he should ask for. Okay, I'm going to continue because Beth isn't back yet. But so what I then waited for was his reply to my comment that I think it's valued at around 70 to 80,000. And how many of you know I'm sitting there going, is he going to tell me to, go away, but using two other words? Or will we continue, as Jody's saying, that there is a good friendly rapport going on? Will he continue in that manner? And he literally did come back and say it was worth a try, Sal. And he said 85. Now, does he have every right to ask for 85? And by the way, how generous was that drop? And how many of you think I immediately said, done? Because I didn't. I said, this sounds like we need a steak and a beer. In other words, we're getting close. But let's do this by texting. Let's do this face to face with a steak and a beer in front of us. And then the shoe dropped. Because he said yes to the steak and the beer, but he's away at the moment. But then the shoe dropped, and he said, by the way, I think the move-in date might change from March next year to end of August or end of September. Does he have the right to ask for that? Absolutely. And I just wrote back, what? In capital letters, question mark, because you understand, my mind is I don't have to rush because I've got until March to do this, end of March, to get the house ready, sold, and then I can move. And then after a few more minutes, when I got settled from that shock, I typed back and said, I'm working on plan B, C, D, and E because I want a win-win here. Hi, Alice. And that was my truth, right? I am thinking about plan B, C, D, and E because I want to make sure we can come to a win-win. So do you understand that what I'm telling him is still want it, getting closer on the price. Now what we need to sort out is this move-in date. And I left it. I didn't get all panicky or how come he's ripping me off with that? How come he changed the date? Da, da, da. Not really a big issue. He's just telling me his truth. Can you see that I didn't get angry with him? What? But I didn't get angry because he has the right to tell me that. And then I just didn't say anything else for a while. And then he texted me back about 12 hours later and said, you know, I've given this some thought and maybe we can still talk about March. Do you get the idea that he does want to sell me this unit? Right? And I wrote back and said, Jerry, we haven't had the steak and the beer. I am still going for a win-win. So if you want to go by the end of September or the end of August, all we have to agree on is how we're going to manage money. In other words, you know, do I get him to owner finance me until my unit, my place sells? Because if he will agree to let me rent to own the unit and owner finance it until my house sells, it's doable. It means he's going to go, I'm going to start moving stuff directly in there while my house is still on the market. And it can stay on the market, right? So am I making sense here? This is not like he did the wrong thing. This is about, let me try and get to a win-win. I now know that what he would like to do is to be gone, maybe even by the end of next month. How can I do that? I can't do it with the money because I haven't sold my house and it's not going to be ready until then to go on the market. But if he can help me with the money side of it by being flexible, I can still do this deal. So do you understand that telling the truth, think about this one, telling the truth when asked, first of all, saved me $30,000. How many of you are going, yikes? And I wasn't, I was a little scared. I was going to say I wasn't scared to tell him that. I was a little scared. I was a little scared, not because of anything other than the fact I didn't want to be rude. Can you feel that? It was like, I don't want to be rude and insult you, but I actually think the price is closer to 75 to 80. See, and I was, literally going, but please don't take that as an insult because I think the work you did was beautiful. Right? But you see, by telling my truth, I haven't done the deal yet, but I could be in a position to save myself $30,000. How many of you are going, wow? So the lesson that I want to get over here is, how many of you get angry with what the other person asks for? Beth has just said, I'm back. My elderly neighbor needed my help with her groceries. We love you for that, Beth. So, Beth, how far did you get? And I'll quickly recap it. Just tell me how far the story got for you, and I will quickly give you the ending of it. So, up to date, that is, because I don't want to punish you for doing such a good deed. How many of you are going, that's a really good reason? Yeah, Jody's going for a mob break. That's a really good reason to be missing that long. And by the way, we missed you, but I want to make sure you don't get punished for this one. So the lessons that I wanted to give everybody was, on this point, was understand that everybody has the right to ask for what they want to ask for. That's their right. Even if the ask is absolutely ridiculous, they have the right to ask. You don't have to agree, and you don't have to get angry. Oh, Beth says she was listening on her phone while she was doing it. Okay, so you're up to date on the 30,000 savings. Did you chuckle on that one, Beth? So the reality is, I am not afraid to walk away from things. Can you get that message? Sunshine Cottage, great. I loved it. Was prepared to put an offer that day until the telephone call came through and said she would need to move in at the end of the month, end of the next month. And I knew I would never be finished in that time. And therefore, I immediately said, tell him the deal's off. I'm not interested anymore. That, he's entitled to ask for that. He's entitled to ask for a move-in date that is 1 month away. And I have the right to tell him my truth, which is I can't do that deal. And then, because if I did that deal, I would have lost any deposit. If I said, okay, I want to do that deal, I would have had to put down a deposit. And if I hadn't finished downsizing my house and sold it in the time, clean, no subjects, then I would lose my deposit. Why would I do that? I don't think that's an honorable way to do business, in my view. And I certainly don't want to lose 16,000 just for the fun of it. I have no wish to do that, because that's what it would have cost me. So the concentration that I would like you to work on this week is whatever people ask for, and you start to go, what the? You go, wait, they have the right to ask for that. I don't have to accept it, but they do have the right to ask for that. And I don't have to get angry and call them nasty names. I just need to say, I hear you, thank you, I'll give that some thought, and walk away. So I'm hoping that helps some of you. I've always used the analogy of the corner store that charges you twice, nearly 50% more on any item because it's a convenience store. And people say to me, oh, it's a ripoff. And I said, no, it isn't. It's a convenience store. The reason that they carry those items, they are the things that people most run out of and need in a hurry. That's what they carry. The milk, the butter, maybe little bag of sugar, but emergency rations, if you like. I said, and they're entitled to ask whatever they like for them because it's convenient for you to go there round the corner than it is to go all the way to the main store. Make sense? That's why it's called a convenience store. And it's not called Walmart. It's called a convenience store. And the price you pay for convenience is the extra dollar. And there are some times when, quite honestly, I am happy to pay that extra dollar rather than go all the way to Walmart. Because it's convenient. It's what it's there for. So they can ask whatever they want. We as consumers don't have to buy it at that price. We may choose to. And Beth, I know that you're beginning to really understand this part now. The difference between I have to and I choose to. Right. Beth is busy because Beth is a giver, as we know, as are most people who join the broadcast. Right? She is getting great joy teaching her customers how to coupon. Now, Beth, question. Have you checked with the management that they are okay with that? Because that could get you in trouble with the management, just so that you know. If they're going, no, that's fine, don't worry about it. Just say, look, I did it without thinking last week or a couple of times, and I just want to check whether it's okay that I teach the customers this. Not all of them, but the ones that really look like they need it. Yes, exactly. So then it's education, right? Don't call it tricks. Word it differently, because if you worked for me and you were busy teaching my customer tricks, all right, let's think hacks, right? Are they hacks? They are coupon hacks. Ways to save money. Hey, I know you're here because you love to save money. Would you like to save more? And that's how I'd word it. I wouldn't talk about tricks, negative. I wouldn't talk about hacks, negative. No, actually, hack more is a learning moment, I think. I don't see hacks as negative as tricks. Am I being picky on the word? Beth, the reason I say this is because I want you to be absolutely clear on what you do. And so you never have to worry about, will I get fired for this? And just say, hey, is it okay that I teach? And I would ask. Of course, being me, I'd probably ask for it in writing. Yes, I believe a hack is a shortcut. So, would you like a shortcut to saving even more? Of course she thanked you because she has 5 children. What a great person to teach, Beth. You see, Beth, every week that you come on here, you, first of all, give me a great compliment that you actually spend this much time with us. I've got to tell you that I take that as a huge compliment. But what I keep hearing time and time again, you help the elderly lady with her groceries. That could have been me. I would like to have you as a neighbor. The other thing is that, the person you helped out is somebody who has 5 children. So yes, you keep being Beth, the real Beth. It takes time to do those things. That's why I want you to release some time doing other stuff. Because I believe this is the real you. You are a natural born teacher of people. And, what I'd like to say, Beth, is one of your greatest skills, as I see it. I'd love to employ you. If I'm not joking. If I had a business, I would want you on my team. Because you keep your commitments. You have an incredible work ethic. Or you are a great actress. And, it's like, but I choose to believe that you have an incredible work ethic and that you keep your commitments. And you've proven that to me in the ways that you do things and the stories you tell us. And I would also like to compliment you that you are incredibly courageous. You actually have a great deal of courage. And the reason I say that is because you have discussed things that a lot of people wouldn't, and you have helped so many people because of that, Beth. So big hugs goes to you from my side. All right, now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a couple of quotes so we can take the pressure off Beth. She's done a lot of hard work today, but good work, and I really love you for that. I was with somebody yesterday. I just opened up the book and it came to a quote. And I used the quote yesterday, so I want to tell you the story about the quote. And by the way, this is the book that I'm reading from. Let me just hold that up in case anybody wants it. I was out to lunch yesterday. And somebody was telling me an incredibly sad story that basically they are going blind. And it's somebody that loves to be working and doing things. And they have infection in their eye, and they're probably going to totally lose their sight. If not in just one eye, probably both. And the discussion that I heard was, because I listened, because it's a really good idea to listen when people tell you these stories. And what I heard was he was struggling to give up hope and deal with the reality. Right? He was struggling to give up hope and deal with the reality. Now, I don't know why, but I had a feeling a few of you would relate to that. So this is my third little case study. And I said to him, I read somewhere quite recently that the worst thing to give up on is hope. Hope keeps you going. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't cope with the reality and stop living in Disneyland, but you can still hope for Disneyland, right? That's your right. Don't let anybody take that away from you. I know one person that was in a wheelchair, had been damaged in an accident and was in a wheelchair and had been for 5 years. And I remember saying to her, when you sit in your wheelchair, do you pray for a miracle? Do you hope that one day you will get out of this wheelchair? Thanks, Beth. Do you hope that you will get out of the wheelchair? And she said, no, I can't. And I said, no, do you hope that you can? Ever? And she said, I guess so. I said, no, don't guess so. Pray for it. If that is what you would like, pray for it. But Sal, you don't understand. I've damaged my L4, L5, whatever it was. And I said, yeah, I know that. That's just stuff. But when you pray at night, pray that you will be able to get out of your wheelchair. And the reason that I said that is because I'm going to show you this quote, because I can never pronounce his name. But the quote is, be realistic, plan for a miracle. And, the reason my book opens to that page is I have it open and in front of me in my washroom, right? I have it in a little book stand and I read that a lot. And then occasionally I'll go and use other ones, but I always come back to be realistic, plan for a miracle. Yeah, but Jody, I want to tell you. So anyway, I'm listening to this story about he's going blind. And I said to him, I want to quote you, a guru, because I quote him a lot and I'd like to make sure you hear it. And he said, what? And I said, the guru, the Bhagwan, whatever, Bhagwan Sri Ranish. How about that? That person said, plan for a miracle. Don't give up hope. Plan for the miracle that everything is unfolding as it should. Beth, great job. Well done for joining a group. I'm really pleased that you're dealing with that. Wow. That's looking after you, Beth. She's going to a self-help group that are working, a group of people that have given up smoking. Awesome. Well done, Beth. That is a great thing to do because it'll help you deal with the reasons why you smoked. So the guy that I said this to, he looked at me and he said, that's really nice and plan for the miracle. And I said, yeah. Now, is that Disneyland? No, because it doesn't say ignore the reality. What it says is, but plan for the miracle. Right? If somewhere in the back of your mind, you think you might only have a year to live, plan for 10. You know what I mean? Keep planning for 10. Because it does something to your insides. Can you understand that when I was asked, what did I think that unit was worth? I could have been quite rude, but I wasn't. I planned just to tell him my truth and hope for a miracle. A miracle of dropping $30,000 on that ask. Wow. And by the way, the price was fair. It was probably still expensive. But I did believe that was a more than fair price. Not a ripoff, a more than fair price. And I was prepared to pay a more than fair price because I think that's what it could be worth. To me. Not to anybody else, to me. That's what you got to look at. So plan for the miracle, people. And the way that I like to plan for a miracle is I like to make sure I've got backup plans. Jody will probably be laughing at me as she hears me say this because Jody hears about my backup plans. I very rarely have a plan A in my life. I always have a plan A. But as fast as I make plan A, I go, yeah, but if that went wrong, where would I go to? What's my fallback position, if you like? And then if that went wrong, where would I, what else and what else? The reason I want that is because when I negotiate with somebody, I know that both of us have to be happy-ish for it to work. So if I say, this is my price and I'm sticking to it, then, this person is not going to be flexible. But if you think about it, he started here. I took a huge risk to tell the truth at here, and he immediately dropped down to here. Now, how many of you know I'm probably going to go in at halfway between the two? So I'm probably going to go in and say, listen, 82.50, I give you I will give you the bank guarantee check I have in my pocket right now. You know what I mean? That to me is the difference. And I know that he wants the unit to be sold. And I got a feeling that he wants the unit sold to somebody who will appreciate what he did with it. And he knows that I do, because I kept oohing and ahhing as I went around. Well, Jody, but am I prepared to walk away from it? Yes. Because if it doesn't work out, it wasn't the one I was meant to have. Now, for those of you who know me quite well on this plan A, plan B, I was busy talking about this yesterday, and I said, when I do this, if the deal goes through, and I'm praying that it will, if it's the right thing to have happen, then what I will do is I will lock up immediately. I will lock up immediately for a year enough money that if I go stir crazy over the winter, I've still got this block of money where I can go out and buy a regular apartment and behave myself as a senior. But I don't want to do that. You understand? So for a year, I'm going to put my stuff in storage, my furniture that I love, put it in storage, pay the price. For a year, I'm going to hold that money and not play with it. I'm going to hold that money that I could walk out tomorrow. If in the middle of a winter I'm going stir crazy, I could walk out and go and buy somewhere new and not even have to sell the place. I could just lock it up and use it as a summer cottage if I wanted to. And keep paying the price on it. So that's how I like to do things. I believe a great negotiation is where it suits both people to some degree. Both people get a win-win. And maybe both people have to give up something, but both people are basically happy. Wasn't what I asked for, but it is what I'm happy to accept. And that's really what it should be. I was thinking about Kerry and her new car. She must have offered them pretty close to what they were asking to have got that deal done. You see, you're allowed to ask. I can remember when I bought my car, they had a price on it that they wanted. And I said, yeah, I hear that's what you're asking. Do me a favor. Before we start doing anything, can you go and talk to your manager? Because I know that's always part of the process. Can you talk to your manager and find out what the bottom line price is? Because I don't want to be going backwards, forwards. I just want to either do this deal or not do it. So I don't want you to be stuck in the middle, because I know the person who's going to give you the price will be the manager. And I don't want to waste your time, because maybe there's a person walking in right now that's going to buy it at this price. So just check with your manager. He said, okay. Actually, it was a she. And she came back and said, the manager says the bottom price is X. And I said, okay, I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I thought I could probably get it for less if I really struggled. But, I thought it was pretty fair considering what they were asking for it. So I paid it. Said, okay, we got a deal. And she said, really? I said, yep. Let's sit down and do the paperwork. And was it a good deal? You bet it was. It's now nearly 20 years later. I still got the same car. All right, Jamie, I missed what's happening to people in southern Laos. I hate to use that word there because I think that Laos sounds so rude. What did I miss? Is this flooding? I think I did hear about major floods from the monsoons. So I just want to make sure that there hasn't been an earthquake or something that I missed. I also, just in a point of humor, while I'm waiting for the answer on that one, some of you may have heard that Zuckerberg of Facebook, he lost on paper, he lost $118 million yesterday in one day. How many of you are going, yikes? His stock fell $19. 19%, sorry. The stock of Facebook dropped 19%. And I don't know if you've read about it, but if you haven't and you want to know why it dropped that much, I will tell you. But the interesting thing to me was not that he lost 119 million. The interesting thing was that loss of that size meant that he dropped 2 positions on the world's wealthiest people. Only 2. He lost $118 million. $118 million and only dropped 2 positions. How many of you going? Pocket change. It's like, if that's how little effect it had on his worth, which I thought was incredible. And in case anybody's listening on the replay, the reason for it was because he has made the commitment to the world that he will now make sure that Facebook is about protecting people's privacy. Right? The same as Apple did. That he is now saying that what happened in the last election is not going to happen again. He is committed to doing that, and that will cost the company a great deal of money. The shareholders knew that. The stock market knew that, and that's why they downgraded the stock. And so what happens is the stock was going like this, and the stock literally plummeted and then went like this. Now, the interesting thing is, it will then hopefully start to rise again. But it plummeted by 118. It was million, Jody, right? Not billion. It was million. Anyway. And you're going, it probably was like dropping, I hate to say this, probably like us dropping, a $5 note on, out of our wallet. It was uncomfortable, but it's not going to really change your life that much. Yeah, I think it was million. But can you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it was uncomfortable for him. I'm certain, that he and his wife were going, rats. But I also think that Mark Zuckerberg is smart enough now to know that he knew that was going to happen, right? You don't change the philosophy of a company like that without it having an effect on the world market. And so now, but how many of you, here's the question, how many of you actually are thankful that he's doing that? And how many of you realize that he must genuinely be upset that he didn't have those protections in to start with, and that so many of us, lost our privacy because of it? And, I know that from all the stories about Zuckerberg that, maybe his ethics are a little sketchy at times, or were originally. But, I do believe that he has come to a place where he would like to do the right things. It's like, I always said that about Bill Gates. Bill Gates could have sat back and just enjoyed the wealth of his doing, and yet he started a foundation to help so many people around the world. And I really do believe that that's what Zuckerberg wants as well. I think he wants to do the right things around the world. And so I go, all credit to you. And when you realize what an impact Facebook has had on our lives, whether we like it or not, I go, thank you and well done. I appreciate that you were prepared to personally lose, 119 million to do the right thing. And I all credit to you that you can do that and still only lose 2 places on the world's richest people list. because he's still in the top 5, or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, right. So the bottom line of today's broadcast, see the world differently this week. See people trying to rip you off and go, they're entitled to do that. They're entitled to ask for that. I don't have to accept it. But I also don't have to be rude about it. I can just go, okay, that's fine. And as a little funny story, in a way, at the end of this, when I was at lunch yesterday, I was 3/4 of the way through my dessert, and I found a hair in my food. And it wasn't on top of my food, it was in my food. So what did I know? It wasn't mine. So I went, yikes, that's not nice. So obviously I stopped eating at that point, psychologically. And I lifted it up because, to me, that's not good. But those sort of accidents can happen. It wasn't a cockroach, somebody was prepping and hair. And I actually just moved the hair and put it aside, but stopped eating. And then I looked at my friend's plate, and guess what I could see? Another hair. Different meal completely. And I leant forward and I picked up the hair, and it was a totally different length and color. And I put it down. Thank you very much, Jody. Jody's just giving us breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news. She checked, of course, because it's Jody. And she said he lost 15 billion overnight and went from number 4 to number 6 on the wealthiest persons list. Thank you, Jody. And now we all know. You are such a star. Did I ever tell you that? All right. So going back to the hairy story, I then said to my server, could I speak to the manager? And by the way, it's not about you, honey. Because, that will be her first thought. Have I done something wrong? And I went, no, just know it's not about you, honey. You're doing a great job. And the message came back, he's in a meeting. Now, has he got every right to tell me that? He's got every right to tell me that. Really, he's in a meeting. So I said, I totally get that. Could you go back and tell him this is pretty important to the reputation of his restaurant? Not, you have to see me right now. And I said, and see if he changes his mind at all. Now, did I really think he was in a meeting? Probably not. But he has the right to tell me that, so I didn't get upset. So the funny thing was he came out, and the first thing I did was I could tell through certain clues that I've learned to look for that he was from the Punjab originally, or his background is from the Punjab. And so I greeted him in his own language and said, hey, I hate to do this, but I think you probably want to know, because I got a feeling from what I know about your restaurant that you really like your restaurant. He said, I do. I said, okay, so hear this from that place that I'm trying to help you, not that I'm trying to complain. And I said, right here, there is a hair that I found in my food, and I didn't find it floating on top, so it wasn't one of mine. It was actually in the food. He said, oh, that's terrible. And, da, 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 da. And I said, no, wait, it gets worse. He said, what? And I said, I would have ignored that and just, said it was an accident. But I said, there was another one in my friend's food, and it was a different length of hair. So I said, you may want to just check in your kitchen to see if people are wearing hairnets. Because if I had been a health inspector today, and not who I am, they'd probably be closing you down right now. And I said, please don't hear this as anything, but I'm trying to protect you. And he actually just went, and I really appreciate that. I really genuinely do. He said, I will go and check and find out. And I said, you don't need to tell me. I just need to make sure you know, because you're their manager. And that reminded me of a management skill that relates back to all that we've been talking about. And the management skill that I remember somebody teaching me a long time ago was that the staff respect what the boss inspects. And let me try and explain how that is important in the things we've been talking about. If you think about it, that you can ask somebody to give a commitment, but if you don't have a good framework around which that commitment is given, then it's so easy for them just to whittle out of it. Oh, I tried. I didn't find it. I didn't have enough time. We know nobody has enough time. Did you make enough time? That's the question. Did you give up 5 minutes of playing your game online to go and do what you said you were going to do? And so, that is, to me, if the staff respect what the boss inspects. So I would have a commitment thing on my fridge. John committed doing this by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Sal committed to doing this by 5 on Tuesday. And then underneath I'd have consequences for failure. John, this, Sal, this. You see, I think if you did that, life would be very different. By the way, what if, as we were talking about Beth and her daughter, what if Beth starts a journal now for her daughter, which is I am teaching my daughter book, all right? And then literally every time she goes and has an executive meeting with her daughter, and she says, from my experience, honey, I just want to tell you that by the end of August, we need to get these things done. So let's try and put them into different groups so that we know that one time we can go to this store and we get the next things in this store and next things in that store. So, how many of these do you think, that's teaching her to think, how many, I can tell you that we can get these all at Walmart. No, get her to think, use her brain. How many things on this list do you think we can get at Walmart or at the Payless or the, dollar store, whatever it's called? It doesn't matter. It's like, and then make her think, oh, I don't know. Guess. I'll let you know if you guess incorrectly. I'm trying to teach you so that if I'm ever not around, that you can do this for yourself and your children. So then, don't let them manipulate you and turn you into a pretzel. Just go, I need you to think about this. Give me your best guess. Well, I think that we can probably get the shampoo there. Yes, good. Well done. So you get to reward good behavior. And then what about this? Yes, yes, yes. No, actually, they don't. We're going to go to Walmart for that one. All right, keep going. And then at the end of it goes, see, I knew you could do this. You are such a smart cookie. I just have been doing this wrong with you. I'm so sorry. I'd like to apologize because you really are more than capable when I let you be. Does that make sense? So to me, the boss, the staff respect what the boss inspects. I'd be doing the same thing with my daughter. I'd be saying, okay, so these are the 2 times this week we're going to go shopping. And while we're doing the grocery shopping, I would not do it for her. I would do it with her, but not for her. When we go to do the grocery shopping, we're also going to pick up which items and make her do the work of thinking. So let's have a list. That's what I want you to do, is to transfer this onto 3 different lists. That's, and then we'll go to those 3 different places. That is parenting with bells on. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to help you learn how to do it with you. I will teach you what I know. And that's really why I'm here, if you think about it. My commitment was that I really would like to do some broadcasts and make some sense of some of these very difficult psychological things, but I'd like to do it in a way that makes sense to people. So if this has made sense and you're listening to it on the rebroadcast, please know that if you would like to donate towards the work that we do, there should be a button on the DearMamaSal.com page, and I believe it's at the top right-hand corner, and there's a donate button, and you can just put in a donation via PayPal or anything you like. So, and I would really appreciate that, because now that I'm retired, every little cent helps for running things like the web page and all that, and it really is great help. Beth, thank you for your contribution today. Jody, thank you for yours. And I really appreciate those people who see the work as valuable, and I'm glad it helps you. So this is Dear Mama Sal saying, again, remember to look after one another. But boy, oh boy, remember to look after yourself, and remember that they are entitled to ask. You don't have to agree. You also don't need to get angry because they asked it. Make sense? This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye-bye for now.